Welcome to Network Africa. Coming up on the program. It's exactly 2 years since the Chibok girls were abducted in northeast Nigeria, and a new video emerges. But what exactly does it mean? The Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi blames the way the Italian student murder is being handled on rumors. And later, South Africa's ruling ANC party says it's ready to pay back the money President Jacob Zuma spent renovating his home if the president cannot afford to. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Joke Rogers. Today makes it exactly 2 years since more than 200 girls were abducted from their school in Chibok, northeast Nigeria, by members of the Boko Haram sect. As expected, the demonstrations continue and the song remains the same: bring back our girls now and alive. In this next report, we take you back to when it all began 2 years ago.
Today makes it exactly 2 years since over 200 schoolgirls were abducted from a remote town in the northeast of the country. On the night of April 14, 2014, Boko Haram militants swept into Chibok in Borno State and kidnapped 276 girls, mostly aged between 16 and 18, from their secondary school. About 50 of the girls managed to escape. But 2 years on, 219 of the girls abducted that night remain missing, despite a global campaign #BringBackOurGirls involving celebrities and US First Lady Michelle Obama calling for them to be found. The Nigerian government and military have faced heavy criticism for their handling of the incident, with towns and cities across the nation witnessing protests. Hope for the girls was briefly raised in April 2015 when the Nigerian military announced it had rescued 200 girls and 93 women from the Sambisa forest. That was a wonderful accomplishment on the part of the military, but it was later revealed that the Chibok girls were not among them. President Muhammadu Buhari began 2016 with a new plan to find the girls and ordered a new investigation into the abductions in January 2016. However, the missing girls are just one example out of the many abductions which have been carried out by Boko Haram. According to Amnesty International, Boko Haram kidnapped 2,000 girls and boys in the same year. Amnesty International suggests they are used as cooks, sex slaves, fighters, and even suicide bombers.
Meanwhile, a new video which was broadcast by CNN has literally gone viral and has generated lots of reactions as well, particularly from the Chibok community. One of such is coming from Esther Yakubu, whose daughter was among those abducted. She joined other relatives of the girls in Abuja, Nigeria's federal capital, to watch the video released by the militant group, the first possible sighting of the girls since May 2014. While her daughter is not in the video, she recognized many of the girls and broke down in tears. The girls were filmed saying they were being well treated, but wanted to go home and be with their families.
I saw our girls, and through their Chibok girls, I recognize some of them because we are in the same area with them. So I recognize them. They are the Chibok girls. 2 years ago, they are not like this, but today they are 2 years on at their other years. So they are changed. I recognize them. I know they are our girls.
We want experts to go and screen and know the timing of the video. Yes, that will prove to us that yes, these girls are really alive. Maybe they take that video 2 months after adoption. We don't know. maybe a year after the adoption, we don't know. But actually that video, even though we are still to authenticate, it brings another hope to people that if that is the case, this girl is truly still alive.
We were joined live from London by a security expert and British Army Reserve officer, Chidi Nwano. Thank you so much for your time on the program.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
All right, just how authentic do you think this video is?
It's very difficult to establish the authenticity, from a remote location, but the fact that the parents have identified their children and these children appear to have aged as we would have expected, it would appear that the video actually was shot on the 25th of, or roughly end of last year, which kind of adds to the probability that this is a genuine video and has been, released by Boko Haram as a sign of good faith, we would presume.
You say it's a sign of good faith. For what exactly?
That is the very interesting question, because we know that Boko Haram is suffering quite a lot of battlefield defeats right now, and even their weapon of last resort has been using female person-born IEDs, suicide bombers, to attack crowded locations. Even that weapon seems to have tailed off. So we know that they're definitely struggling. They're struggling for food, for manpower, for ammunition, and for weapons. So it would appear that there was a faction, at least within Boko Haram, who wants to negotiate, and this is their best negotiating tool. This is the thing that made them an internationally recognized group, the Chibok girls. And by demonstrating that they not only have these girls and appear to have kept some of them in a good condition, it gives them a good base from which to start any form of negotiations with the federal government.
Right, it definitely sparks a lot of emotion, being 2 years since the girls were abducted. Do you think the government should continue to explore the option of negotiation as you think the group would want?
I would say that, it will far be it for me to suggest anything to the Nigerian government, but a negotiation should never be off the table. The conflicts almost inevitably always end through negotiation. Even the Civil War, as much as there was a military defeat for Biafra, it was still a negotiated, signed peace deal at the end that ended that conflict. So the government must always explore, negotiation. But a very important caveat from my point of view is, or from maybe some analysts' point of view, is what exactly the terms of these negotiations will be. If the negotiations result in a blanket amnesty, or even exchanging cash or weapons or food or fuel or anything of that sort for the group, such an exchange could lead to an extension of the conflict, and we would see lots more, and would also give more encouragement to Boko Haram or any other group to conduct such abductions, such large-scale, high-profile abductions, in order to gain more benefits. So these negotiations have to be, undertaken very, very carefully.
Right. What do you think, the nature of the negotiations should be from your experience of issues like this?
The key thing is, looking at it from both sides of view, is that Boko Haram is from looking at this video from Boko Haram's perspective. You will notice that the other videos that have been released in relation to the Chibok girls have been very boastful. They've been emphasizing that, the Christian girls are now Muslims, they're now learning the Quran, that they're going to sell the girls. Very boastful, very arrogant videos. In other words, showing we are here, we've arrived, we've achieved what we want to achieve. This video has a very different tone, in that the girls are shown, although, as I said, they appear to be relatively well fed. You can see the fear on their faces, you can see that their body language is not positive, but also the interviewer is keen for them to identify themselves in a way that their parents will recognize as a definite proof of life. And also, the girl at the end makes a plea directly to the government to begin the negotiations. So it's clear that there is an interest on that side for the negotiations to take place. So it's clear from the Nigerian government's point of view as well that there is an opportunity here. And offering, as has been recently offered, Operation Safe Corridor, where surrendered fighters are allowed to come in, but giving clear guarantees that, abducted fighters, forced conscripts, child soldiers, etc., will be treated very well, demonstrating that this can happen, and also giving an option that anyone who does surrender will be treated, lawfully according to the international standards, and will be kept safe, from prosecution from persecution. But it also has to be emphasized that there can be no exchange, as I said, for like weapons, money, or anything that can prolong this conflict. That is one of the key things that suggests that the government needs to establish as their baseline.
Right, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on the program, Chidi Nwonu, security expert there. Right, coming up on Network Africa. President El-Sisi of Egypt blames the way the Italian student murder is being handled on rumors. That's in a moment.